Your ship arrives over a field of green, trees large enough to hold cities. One of them has a flat area, just big enough to land the ship on. But something else has caught your eye. A glowing crystal city nestled in the carpet of vegetation. You decide to investigate and land the ship in a clearing nearby. Yeah, the world of fire, huh? Doesn't appear to be so. Alright, we are going to save. LPTG009. Okay. Something that I thought was interesting, we can check our status of how many points out of the max that we've acquired. Alright, so let's look around. Your ship sits on one of the only clear regions on Pryan, whatever. To the west, a structure of mammoth proportions towers over you. Alright, ship. Let's take the plant. The trees of Pryan are beautiful. From a distance they look normal, if somewhat lush. Closer inspection reveals that they are many times normal size. Some of them actually reach miles in height. Yeah. Citadel. Though the citadel appears to be one building, it is the size of a city. Crystal spires tower over the high wall which surrounds whatever lies within. Alright, nothing really around here. Okay, that's my ship. It doesn't look like a door, it is more like a wall containing indentations of 3 different shapes. One resembles a hammer, another a sword, and the final one a staff. There doesn't appear to be anything in here. A strange animal, seated on the ground in front of a bush, startles at your entrance and leaps into a branch. A tree grows in the middle of a patch of nut-bearing bushes. On a branch, an animal perches, watching you. Alright, we're gonna take that. We're gonna take that. The animal most resembles a cross between a squirrel and a monkey. Under a coat of thin fur, sleek muscles move as it sways back and forth on its branch. You get the impression that it could prove quite formidable if provoked. Despite that, there's nothing threatening about its manner. In fact, it seems to be alternating between wary curiosity and hunger. Its eyes travel back and forth between you to the bushes of nuts. Well, I'll leave you be. Alright, what about this way? You stand on the edge of a thick forest. An old hollow tree stump sticks out of the ground. The stump has been dead for a long time. Little holes in the wood show that it is hollow. One twisted branch sticks out at an odd angle from the front. Yeah, okay. Let's go in. The forest is unnaturally still. There are no sounds of birds or animals. There is no wind. You start to wander deeper into the forest when something very large, something you thought was a tree, moved threatening towards you. You stumble backwards to where you started, and the motion stops. Hidden amongst the trees, you catch only fleeting glimpses of the giants. They look human, though with 3 major differences. They stand about 20 feet high, they lack hair, and they have no eyes. Creepy. Alright. Now here's where I got stuck. We are actually, we need to actually go from the citadel to the tree city. How I managed to figure that out, who knows. Alright, I think we go... yeah. Giant trees support your ship over unseen ground far below. Alright. This is a clear, flat area nestled amidst the branches of this giant tree. You see another tree over a narrow but deep drop. We're going to take that. You untie the thick clothesline and coil it up as you take it. Let's investigate. The chamber appears natural, as if the wood of the tree grew with this space in mind. You step into the middle of a busy kitchen, but on your arrival, all noise and movement suddenly cease. 3 pairs of eyes lock onto you. 2 elven women halt their conversation, and a child drops her broken doll and simply stares. The heavier woman wearing an apron looks over you critically. Looks you over. Who are you? What are you doing here? I'm just here to help you do whatever it is you're doing. I thought so. Humans only come here when they're looking for a handout or when they need work. Well, it happens that I'm short-handed right now. Are you willing to work? Sure. I'm glad to hear it. I'm so behind just now that I would welcome anyone's help, even from a human refugee. The king has decided to throw a party, with his usual 2-hour notice. Get over to the counter and start kneading that dough. Let's see if you can handle that task before I move you on to anything more complicated. You edge over to the counter, pick up the lump of dough, and half-heartedly begin to knead it. While you're doing this, the cook resumes her flurry of activity, continuing the conversation with the other woman as if there had been no interruption. She hurries about the room, tending to several tasks at once. At the same time, she not only manages to keep up her end of the running conversation, but the serving girl's side as well. I'm worried about the children. I don't have a problem with them playing together, but the royal prince has begun to join in. There are human children in that group. You watch. Nothing good can come of that. She glances your way and adds, no offense, you understand. Anyway, I've saved the worst for last. There's a human adult out there. He's talking with the children, putting all sorts of ideas in their heads. Ideas all about the races living together, treating each other as equals. Can you believe it? Rumor has it that he's a wizard. A child described some of his spells, and they're like nothing we've ever seen. In fact, the spells weren't even similar to any of those cast by the humans. Either this human is the most powerful to come along, or he's a member of a different race entirely. Wouldn't that be exciting? The serving woman gently interjects. Maybe the child was exaggerating. You know how imaginative they can be. The cook looks down at the small girl on the ground. Of course, that's true. Those children can come up with some wild ideas. Still, it would have been exciting. You notice that the small elf child on the floor has been watching you with wide eyes and an unreadable expression. After a moment, she returns to playing with the battered, pathetic doll. She holds the doll above the floor and tries to make it walk around, but the fact that the doll is missing its head and a leg seemed to make this experience less enjoyable than it should be. After a few moments, she drops the doll on the floor and sighs dejectedly. Alright, how about we give you the doll? The child looks at the toy in your hand and smiles. She throws aside the broken doll as she jumps up, claps, and runs over to grab the better toy. She turns it around in her hands and laughs happily. You're nice. I like you. You have to meet my friends. The child grabs your hand and starts to drag you outside. Come on, let's go. She runs outside and beckons you to follow. Alright. The cook pulls a tray of sweet cakes from the oven. The aroma makes your mouth water. A loud buzzing draws your attention to a small window. You see a nasty-looking insect about the size of your fist flying into the kitchen, also attracted by the sweet smell. The serving maid screams and puts herself as far from the bug as she can. Only the cook manages to remain calm. As the insect hovers over the cakes, she puts out an ugly yellow flower from an apron pocket and crushes it in her hand. She unfolds her fingers and the room is suddenly filled with a horrible odor. The odor makes you feel somewhat queasy, but it seems to have a more substantial effect on the insect, which darts back out the window. It must be bug season again. Those terrible insects are such a bother. Every time I make something sweet, they show up, seemingly out of nowhere. On one occasion, I was actually stung by one of them. I was in bed for a week. The serving woman slowly begins to relax. These petals should do the trick of keeping them away today, but this is my last plant. I'm going to have to get the children to start harvesting the stinkweed again. What was that bug? Their hive appears during every harvest season. The insects that live in them usually leave us alone unless they are angered or they smell something sweet. That drives them crazy. I always keep some stinkweed around, just in case. I don't need to know why it drives them off. Where do you find the plant? I'm not sure. The plant grows in wild in bunches, but it's difficult to find. I have all the children out searching for it, and since I reward their finds with sweets, the plant is in high demand. Whenever it's discovered in the wild, the children return with as much as they can carry. They practically drool over the patch growing on the nearest tree, but no one can get to it. Okay. Well, you've done a pretty poor job on the dough, but I don't think I'm going to get much better out of you. Leave then. I don't blame you for wanting to get away from the stinkweed. Thank you. I'm done. The elf child is here, tapping her foot impatiently. I didn't think you'd ever get here. Come on, let's go. It's through here. She wiggles through a clump of bushes to the east. You come upon a group of children gathered at the ledge. They're calling to someone below. One smaller child is crying. You stand on a large curving branch that overlooks the sheer drop, which extends further than you can see. A young man stands on a ledge below you, looking up. When you glance over the edge, you see a young elf trapped on a lower ledge, trying without much success to climb back up. The small elfin girl tugs her shirt sleeve. These are my friends. That doorknob down there is the prince. I guess he finally got up enough courage to go after the golden staff. He's been talking about it long enough. It doesn't look like he made it very far, though. Well, we just so happen to have a rope. You lower one end of the clothesline to the struggling prince. He grabs hold of it gratefully and you haul him up. Thank you, sir, for coming to my aid. He glances around at the audience of children, puffs himself up, and adds, I would have made it out eventually by myself, but your help sped things up quite a bit. He smiles a little sheepishly. Yeah. I'm at your service, sir. Anything I can do for you, I will. What is this place? This is the Maw, called that because anything that goes in gets swallowed up. It's a sheer drop, ringed by trees on all sides. The only way to the bottom is straight down. It's an evil place. I'll never go near it again. Well, then why did you climb down there? I know, it's a long story. I was searching for the staff. I figured that I wanted it more than anyone who had gone before me. It turns out that I had much more enthusiasm than ability. What staff? I guess everyone isn't familiar with the legend. I'll tell it to you. Ages and ages ago, the gods gave 3 items to the races. To the dwarves, they gave a golden hammer. To the humans, they gave a golden sword. To us, they gave us a golden staff. The items were supposed to symbolize the race's roles in a new unified society. The dwarves were to be the workers, the builders. That's what the hammer represented. The humans were supposed to be the protectors, hence the sword. We elves were the scholars, the leaders, of course. I guess it didn't quite work.